All right. Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're here to talk about it live with Frank and Manny. So, good morning, Frank.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Good to see y'all again.
Good, glad you made it to the studio safe and sound,
Right,
brother. I'm gonna move that closer there too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Jump there.
yeah. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us on Talk About It Live on a Wednesday. Yeah. So I was out of town yesterday, and then we meant to film an earlier program, but we got caught up in all kinds of stuff. So today let's talk about it Tuesday on a Wednesday. A little bit late. If you went to Frank Lopez Jr. U.S. Border Patriot page, you saw why he was late to the program.
So it was
for good reason.
Yeah, it was so driving along, just picked up our tacos, was headed into the studio here, and
But that's not why you were late, because of the tacos.
no,
right?
no, bro, I didn't stop to eat, man. So I saw a bear in the air, a chopper just circling around, and for some of you folks there, you might recognize the CB talk from the '70s, I guess, bro. There's a bear in the air.
There's a bear in the air.
But anyways, so kind of zoomed in on it, and as I was driving, I looked over, and sure enough, I saw some, the blueberries and the raspberries, red berries, whatever, the lights going on.
Yeah.
And so went back in there. Just I wanted to give you a glimpse of life here on the border, because just in that brief little glance, Manny, I saw a high-capacity SUV
Right.
and DPS, and right off the bat, it's like, okay, it was maybe a smuggling load, dope load, something.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I circled around and could see that the vehicle was severely damaged. And as I'm looking around, you see grass in the street, and obviously what we would call the elements of a bailout.
Right.
When folks are going to get stopped by Border Patrol
Yeah.
or LEOs, law enforcement, they'll drive through, crash through a fence, through property, and they'll do a bailout. Everybody just bails out of the vehicle.
Right.
So anyways, we were able to just see in some basic deductions. Don't want to get into assumptions. Don't know anything about the nature of the stop. I asked the DPS trooper. He couldn't give me any information. But it was obvious the guy didn't want to stop.
Right.
He ran through a parking lot. I ran right through a pole, bro. I mean,
Wow.
I showed it on video. Regular telephone pole just smashed in half. Some parking signs, through a fence, through a field, another fence, and then just came to a stop.
And I saw that was over there by the medical area,
By the
man.
medical
So
area.
right now that a lot of traffic, school, kids out,
Yep.
School buses, things like that, complete disregard for human safety.
Yep.
And a lot of people would think, why police officers and law enforcement get so angry and uptight during a car chase, during a failure to yield. And folks, it's mainly because I've been involved in quite a few of them when I was at the border patrol. I know you've been involved in quite a few of them. And one of the reasons law enforcement get pretty angry about it is not only are they breaking the law, but there's a complete disregard for human safety.
Yep.
Yep. And over here in Del Rio, if you've ever been in Del Rio during school time, it is wall to wall traffic for a little town. I mean, that's
that intersection's horrible, bro.
Yeah.
And I recall years ago where there was a plan to build a school, and the city fathers, they decided to pay $300,000, folks. $300,000 for land to build a school. But look, what's wrong with that? There were 20 acres that were being offered to free
for free,
bro.
Yeah.
School district instead opted to spend $300,000 of our taxpayer money to build the school off Highway 90, which is a nightmare for traffic here in town.
Oh, and bro, I've been on fairly 2 years over there on Highway 90 in front of that school and all kinds of
And so and I recall, this is probably over 20 years ago. Excuse me. I don't know if my kids were alive, born yet or not. I don't remember. But anyways, the property owner wanted to donate 20 acres, Manny. It was right off Bedell, right next to the Border Patrol station. And all they wanted was, hey, look, just run the utilities along our property line.
Yeah.
Because that owner had more property, and obviously, it's a win-win. I give you 20 acres. You run the utilities along our mutual property line.
Right.
You benefit, the taxpayers benefiting, yeah, I'll benefit. Look, man, isn't it all about compromise? Aren't we supposed to? Anyways, a little bit of sarcasm there. But so what resulted was we paid $300,000 out of taxpayer pocket. They built a school off of Highway 90, it just results in traffic jams at the intersection of Bedell and Gibbs right here in Del Rio. So that's a little bit of the back history there, bro.
So we went from there, from the car chase to
the taxpayer.
the taxpayer.
We need efficiency. Anyways, what does that have to do with it?
But the reality is too is the taxpayers' dollars at work here. This morning, I saw all kinds of because I forgot my laptop and had to go back to the house and pick it up, and I was on my motorcycle and I could hear all the sirens behind me, and then I heard, a helicopter in the air, and I was like, oh man, there's another, car chase going on. Because sadly, folks here in Del Rio, they're, within the city limits, they weren't too commonplace. But sadly, since this border crisis has been going on, stuff like this is turning into a common reality.
And so let me just say something about that, bro. In the sense of, look, a lot of times we're gonna get information from city folks, people in agencies, people that don't necessarily want their name out there.
Right.
They don't want, and what I'm saying is they're providing us information. They don't want the sources to be known because it's going to be looked at, it's not going to be favorable with their employer or the government agency that they work for.
Right.
And it can be federal, state, local, whatever government agency. Anyways, so this is some of the information we've been getting, Manny, and it needs to be verified, of course. Don't want to, we don't want to be gossip mongers out here, but this is from officials,
right?
Hired, employees of government entities who were saying that there was some type of a carjacking in the parking lot of the mall, the backside.
Yeah.
So you heard about
I heard about that. Yeah.
Supposedly there was a drive-by shooting at a law enforcement officer's house. Bro.
Wow.
So look,
that one I hadn't heard yet.
Yeah. So we're gonna verify that, of course. Trust the source, but verify always.
Yeah.
And so it's wild and woolly in a sense. And yeah, you can say, look at how we're dealing with the problem. We're throwing resources and money, taxpayer money at the problem. Look at what we're doing. When politicians created this problem, in this case, Biden created this problem. He magnified it. Yeah, there's always been illegal immigration, of course, folks. There's always been that aspect of it. But Biden's no borders policy created, it's the perfect storm. And now here in Texas, yeah, there's a semblance of response, but it's not effective when clearly policies by the state, by the governor would do so much, Manny,
right,
to affect this. And there's a lot of players at play. There's big money at play. There's big businesses at play. There's a lot, but Texas right now, the way things are, with the looming threat of the invasion from the south, with the Biden administration's definitely no borders policy. I don't know if you saw Alejandro Mayorkas was being grilled by the Senate, bro.
No, I didn't get a chance to see that one.
The Secretary of DHS got a grilling, and Ted Cruz, hey, way to go, Senator. Pat on the back when it's due, and what's up with you when it's due as well. So pat on the back there, Senator Cruz, for holding Mayorkas' feet to the fire, asking him to explain this craziness of wanting to give $450,000 payouts to illegal aliens.
I can't believe that even broaches their mind, bro. That even gets in their head to do something like that. But then again, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
That liberals want to do something like that. Pay not just families but individual persons, $450,000 per person.
Yeah.
We have homeless veterans. We have children who are underprivileged here in our community. I know, and all throughout the United States. That could benefit, better, and actually it would stimulate the economy in a sense. I did see some of them. I did see the announcement though on his new infrastructure. What is it? $7.2 trillion infrastructure bill that has no mention of border security, no mention of military, buildup. But they want to fix some roads and whatnot.
My God, bro. And you know what happens with that, Manny? They did it. They do it. That's the way they operate.
Yeah.
Here's the surface issues, folks. This is how here's the carrot. What's the big stick? Everything that's hidden in the bill, bro. Everything that could sneak across.
Yeah, and that's true. They hide stuff into the bill. We've seen it before. The Pelosi has tried to push things through. Trying to hide things. Like this last one of the last ones that they tried to push through was government funded, taxpayer funded abortion overseas, for the purpose of birth control, which is, in my opinion, is outright murder. Not just my opinion, what I believe to be true is outright murder, of children in the womb. But folks, we hear these words, infrastructure. Yeah, we need better roads. I would love to see better roads here in our town. But folks, somebody has to pay for these things, and it's sad to me, and it's amazing to me that while inflation is at an all-time high since the Great Depression, what does the Biden administration want to do? They want to implement a $7.2 trillion infrastructure bill that you and I are going to have to pay for.
Yeah.
when inflation is all time high.
Yeah.
And then to get back to the border crisis, there still is a border crisis going on, folks. Right now, this year versus last year, for the month of November, we're already up over 128%.
Wow.
Right, since in comparison to last year, 128%.
And so, what's traditional about this time of the year, man, is that the traffic would start dying down.
Oh yeah, everybody heads south, but nobody's heading south right now.
Nah, bro, everybody's headed north. Because why? The big Santa Claus lives in the United States, where you're going to be given everything for free, man.
Yeah. And so they keep distracting everybody about it, folks. We talked to agents the other day, and we're still getting within this sector, Del Rio sector, which is not a large sector, folks.
Nope.
In comparison to all the other sectors in the United States, I think we're a medium sector, right? And so, but they're still catching over 1,000 per day. In just in Del Rio alone, I think they're processing over 1,400 to 1,500. Per day.
And the reports we saw last week, hey, good morning, HTX Renegade Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. We were at a Texas Public Policy Foundation event here in Del Rio. There's some heavy hitters there, some folks that are involved in, a think tank formulating policy, then getting those ideas, getting those, actions, corrective actions for what's going on in our country, getting that material over to our legislators and other, influences. To get a conservative perspective on the problems facing our nation, get it into the hands of influencers. And so it was great, man. We bump into some old patrol guys there, Chief Rodney Scott, and then of course
Mark Morgan was there.
Chief Mark Morgan was also there, and then a lot of interesting folks, from other entities such as the Heritage. Heritage Foundation.
Heritage Foundation,
yeah. And there was even a representative there of Governor Abbott's office. One of his staffers was there.
Yep.
And so, anyways,
and asked us personally what we would do, and of course, all right.
Let's go off record here. Yeah. So, anyways, no, definitely we let them know, folks, and it's these opportunities, and that's why it's important that we all become familiar with what's happening in our nation on the border, but not just that, folks. What's happening in the state of our state, what's happening in your community. Be informed, get your finger in the pulse of your community and get involved, because you never know when a God appointment, a moment in time that God designates for you to interact with someone. You need to be armed with knowledge, with information, with sources, to point these people in the right direction, because in this case we had folks from Washington D.C. and of course Austin here. And just talking to a couple of local boys, we've been involved. We know a bit of what's happening, but we had the opportunity to interact with them and give them a real from-the-ground perspective on life on the border.
And what's amazing to me, Frank, is we shared a lot of the information that we've been sharing. And I want to give a shout out to the I always forget their name, the foundation that was
Texas Public Policy Foundation.
Texas Public Policy
Thanks,
Foundation.
Celine Rodriguez.
Thanks, Celine Rodriguez, for bringing, because they bring different people all the time.
Yes.
And even though they're from Texas and pretty close, some of them from Texas, some from other states.
Yeah, they were these guys from D.C.
Yeah, in D.C. But it's always amazing to me the look of shock on their faces, like they can't believe this is happening in this little town, much less America.
Yeah.
And so folks, what may seem old news to you is still brand new to many people, because they still can't believe that over 1,000 plus are coming through our borders. You may not see it on the news anymore, the big flood of Haitians that we had, or 15,000 here underneath the Del Rio port of entry. However, they are still staged over there on the other side in Mexico, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for, of course we hear now that Eagle Pass, Texas is getting hit very hard. Quemado, Texas is getting hit like never before. They're looking at Yuma again into the RGV sector. Folks, this crisis isn't going away.
Yeah.
And every time I see Biden on the news and Kamala with her giggle and with her laughter and everybody cheering them like they're doing some type of good job. Well, not everybody. I'm not going to say everybody. They're their own people, cheering them, because I can hear all the other chants at sporting events and, things like that and whatnot, about the, let's go Brandon and this and that, which, folks, I was also reading this morning, Frank, that and I don't trust polls too much, but it was an interesting poll that they believe that the Democrats are going to lose a whole bunch of seats.
Yeah.
This upcoming election.
So here we go, man. Here's a great dovetail as I'm looking here at this, segue into what's happening here. As I'm looking at these comments, thanks everybody for jumping in. We appreciate you. Like, share, follow, get the word out. You're going to get the real life perspective. But there's a gentleman here that jumps on. And so he says, so enough talk. What is the solution? All right, great, man.
Yeah.
Please bring me up my soapbox here so I can get on it. So Felipe, take notes, brother. Get involved. You've got to get involved locally. Felipe, are you running for school board? Sir, are you running for the hospital district? Are you running for city council, sir? Have you considered becoming a commissioner, running at the county level, sir? Have you considered anything like that? Have you considered supporting the local Republican Party? Have you considered attending their meetings? Perhaps donating? Becoming a chairman for any one of the numerous committees that they have. In this case, Valverde County, we have a fundraising community. Man, I'd love to have an engagement community, a get out the vote, a voter registration committee, get another committee for events. We need help, folks. And it's like, I'm not trying to build a kingdom here. A committee can be, the same three people on all three committees, or anything.
And sometimes it is, and even I don't know where he's located at, but wherever you're located,
I'm looking at him. I'm looking for him.
Wherever you're located at, if there's a local candidate that you want to support, that you believe in, go out there, knock on doors, for them, pass out some flyers, pass out some door hangers, whatever. Get people in there, or help get people in there that deserve to be in there. No, folks, we're fighting a couple fronts here. We got a lot of the Democrats who are never going to work with anybody across the aisle, but in reality they don't have to, Frank, because we got these rhinos like Tony Gonzalez jumping over the aisle to and bending over backwards for them
to help them out.
To help them out.
Yeah.
Sending money to NGOs who don't deserve any money, who shouldn't have any money, who are facilitating illegal immigration, human trafficking, sex trafficking. They're just basically a travel agency for the cartels.
Yep.
And
Tony's Tours.
Yep, Tony's Tours, and then petitioning Biden administration to use Laughlin Air Force Base to fly people, and they're still being flown out of here, folks.
Yes.
They're still being flown out. We got all kinds of National Guard here now. We know what some of them are doing. We don't know what all of them are doing. Yeah. It's a big mix up here. And
a big mystery.
But folks, you need to, if you want to get involved, and if you're not going to run, help somebody who is going to run.
Yes, get involved, and if anything, become a fellow citizen journalist. Pick up your camera. Everybody has a camera now. Get out there. You see something happening, report on it. To let people know what's happening. Tag us. We'll help you get the information out there. But look, I also sense in there, Manny, and I understand why it's prevalent in our state. I understand why there is this sentiment underneath the service. Sometimes it's just right in your face. The call to action.
Yeah.
That. I think let me just say it, I don't know how to put it. Some people are thinking about, a physical
call action. To arms,
Yeah, call to arms,
yeah.
bro. And so, look, guys, as warriors, as veterans, as law enforcement officers, we understand that there is authority that's granted to us as law enforcement, as federal employees, as government employees. There's authority that's granted to us. But what holds that authority in check? The Constitution holds that authority in check.
Yeah.
And we are still a republic, a constitutional republic. And so this aspect of people, time for pick up our arms and say, look, folks, right now is election season. Right now is a time to get involved and make the change from within. Take back the Republican Party from the establishment rhino swamp like Kevin McCarthy, Tony Gonzalez, John Cornyn, and so many others, folks, that have been in the front seat with the socialist Democrats.
Yep.
And they've been in the front seat as the bus is headed over the cliff. So we've got to, jump in there, kick them out, and get in the driver's seat. This talk about revolution and all this crap, do you want to shed other Americans' blood when, we are not at that point, folks?
Yeah, we're not
we
at that
have
point
a
yet.
chance. We have a chance. Now, don't get me wrong. We've talked so often about the founding fathers, the Texas founding fathers, and the aspects, the emotional, mental, spiritual, process that they had to have gone through to come to a point where they were going to declare their freedom and wage war against the ruling tyrannical power. Yeah. But that's a process, folks.
It is a process.
And we have a process here. And right now we are in the middle of candidate filing season. So look, Mr. Felipe, you want to, enough talk? What are we going to do? Get involved, sir.
Yep,
Get involved. Go to your county. Find out what offices are available there. What's up for election. Get with your local Republican Party chairman, and you all work it out. Are you going to run for county? Are you going to run for the hospital, the school board? You're going to run for city council? Or perhaps try to get on, like, for instance, the appraisal,
yeah, the appraisal district.
The appraisal district. Yeah. Try to get on with the permit, committee. Try to get on with the city has different committees. Yeah, I forget what the technical name for it is. It'll come to me. But anyway, the zoning and planning commission, stuff like that. Get on these government, entities and be a voice for reason, be a voice for common sense, yep. Be a voice for accountability, be a voice for transparency. But don't just rage at your keyboard. Manny and I have been out here. We've been getting involved, a life of service to our country as military personnel, as law enforcement officers, and now as activists, political activity folks. We're trying to make a change. So it's not just about talk, it's about action. And part of it is getting the awareness out there, making people familiar with what's happening, and then stirring them up, being encouragers and being nourishers of that passion that's in you. And I'm not trying to drag you here, sir. I'm just saying, come on. We all have a part. We all have a part. And so get involved, help carry the load. It's our Texas. It's our America. This is our home, and we love our home. Yeah, we love Texas.
Yeah, I love and awesome, bravo, Frank. We and also at the basic level, folks, I believe a very important level. If you have a family, sit down, have dinner with your kids, talk with them about what is happening here in America.
Pray,
pray with them, encourage them. Let them know that what is happening a lot in the Biden administration and with Democrats, with these rhinos, is wrong. And that they basically they're tone curls. But Frank, you're right. There is a process. When we look at history, we see the movies. Like one of my favorite movies is the Patriot with Mel Gibson. However people feel about Mel Gibson. But the movie itself, I love. When they're about to go to war, the American Revolution and whatnot. Folks, the enemy started. The British government ended up becoming the enemy and came on American shores and started taking away freedoms from people. So but it was built up to that point.
Yes.
There's a process. They just didn't say, hey, taxation without representation. Boom, let's go to war.
Yeah.
No, they elected people. They put people in office, and then it eventually came to that point.
Yes.
But we all remember. We all read about the famous ride of Paul Revere. The British are coming, and then they were prepared because the enemy was coming to attack. So but it's not. But folks, there's processes involved that we have to take. Elect people, get involved, be an activist, talk to your families, encourage your children, get involved in the school board. Or like Frank said, become an activist.
Yes.
But make sure. You use righteous indignation,
Yes.
that which is, the Bible says, it's okay to be angry, but don't sin. Just don't go out there and start, causing all kinds of,
mayhem. Sometimes you go out there and it just follows you around. But real quick on that, Manny, the other arena here that we have to totally become active in is the faith arena, bro.
Yep.
We need for you to get involved with your local church, the body of Christ, and find a vibrant remnant church. Find that body of believers,
or synagogue. Yeah.
Or synagogue. There you go, brave man. Synagogue, congregation of believers, and get involved and be. I'm not saying be defiant, but be we're co-equals. We are co-equals in the salvation given to us by Christ.
Amen.
The blood of Christ was shed for all. It wasn't like, well, here, this pint is for the elite, and this pint, it was shed for all.
Yep.
And so, yes, there is, it says pray for the elders, pray for the pastor, etc., etc. But look, folks, at base level, we are brothers and sisters in Christ, and you can always talk to your pastor. You should talk to your pastor
and ask them what they're doing. Ask your pastor, rabbi, what are they doing? And sometimes they're really
to be salt in this society.
To be salt. And sometimes they're really busy, but many times they can help a candidate that goes to the local congregation, encourage community members. We encourage our congregational members to some, they try, hopefully, to go to the city council meetings, to watch them online, get involved, to know what's going on, and support some candidates, but ask your pastor, ask your rabbi, ask your congregational leaders, what are they doing, and make sure that you're sitting under leaders that follow biblical principles.
Amen,
there's a lot of stuff that is being preached out there right now, Frank. People trying to defend from the pulpit. Say homosexual marriage, abortion. Things that are contrary to the scriptures, and they're defending these and trying to defend these things from the pulpit. Look, folks. The Bible doesn't support those things, so make sure you're sitting under leaders that support biblical principles.
And the thing about that, Manny. So look, man, there's a lot to say. And look, Felipe, hey brother, love you, bro. Never met you, love to meet you, man.
Yeah, good
love
job. Appreciate your words there.
Yeah, bro, because it is a great point, and that's a sentiment a lot of us have is, tired of the talking. I agree.
We are.
I agree.
Yeah.
We are, bro. That's like but and so there comes a time exactly when we just got to get off like I've said, it's time to get off the sidelines. Hey, maybe we're on the edge of the field here. We got a megaphone and we're screaming and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But you know what? There comes a time when we've got to make some decisions, and that's a process that our founding fathers had, bro. Yeah. When those volunteers from Tennessee came to Texas, they said their goodbyes, brother.
Yeah.
Because they knew it might be the last time they saw their loved ones out there.
Yeah.
And everybody has a loved one. They may have been single men or whatever, but they had a mom and a dad. They had siblings. They had relatives, and they said their goodbyes. But they were marching towards freedom. They were marching towards an idea of what America is, what America stands for. And that warrior patriot spirit needs to rise up in all of us, folks. And the way we do it right now is we get involved in the political arena and we speak truth to power. We speak to the governing authorities, and we take those strongholds under the command of Christ. We hold them subject to Christ, but we need to get involved as Christians in the life of our society. We can no longer just go do our Sabbath or Sunday service. Hey,
right.
We can no longer go do that and then just everything's fine. Monday night football, Sunday cookout, watch a football game, and I get it, folks. Life is going on. We had our twin sons, man, and for 18 years they were our world, our life, and we came up for air, and things had changed, and so I get it, but. Looking back, I mean, there are certainly times, we were serving our nation, but there's certainly times to get involved, even if it's just 1 hour to attend your local party meeting, see what's going on, and share their information, and tell others about it. See, that's the greatest multiplier, Manny. If I go tell, 5, 10, 20 people, and those 5, 10, 20 people go tell 5, 10, 20 people, we get the word out. And that's what needs to be taking place. We need to be talking, not just about, God, I hate inflation. Look at the price of gas and stuff. What is causing it? What are the reasons? And what knowledge do we need to be armed with? And so then what are we going to do with that? Hey, tomorrow, right here in Del Rio, Thursday night, there's going to be a town hall with a county judge and the sheriff, Joe Frank Martinez, and County Judge Lewis Owens. It's going to take place at Livingstone Worship Center. I'm not too sure about the time here. I'll find out the time. 6:30. I'll get that. If you go to my page, I'm pretty sure I posted it. The Valverde County page, it's posted there. But go, folks. Go listen.
Ask them the tough questions, man.
Yes.
As leaders, in the scriptures, it says, "Pray that not many of you become teachers, because you will face a stricter judgment," which means that you're accountable. Not only to God, but you're accountable to the people that you serve. And looking when you were talking earlier, Frank, I was reminded, about arming ourselves with knowledge.
Yes.
At the basic level, like when we're in the military, right? Every soldier from the enlisted, from the private, all the way to the general of the United States Army, right?
Yes.
Joint Chiefs of Staff go through what's called basic training, right? Where you learn at the basic level, basic soldiering, right? And so if anything happens, it doesn't matter what rank you are, it doesn't matter what position you're at, it doesn't matter what office you're sitting in, right, or what field you're in. Once everything happens, you need to know how to fight. You need to know how to defend this nation, and you need to know basic soldiering skills.
Yes.
When I was in the military, I had my wife, I had my oldest son. I had family time. I cared about my family, help support my family. But I always knew that when that call came, I got to go. You
Yeah.
know, I got to go. And actually, we did. There's a storm broke out. I had to send my wife back to the United States, and boom, we were deployed. And for the greater good of America.
And so, throughout the ages, folks, from the beginning of human history, man, in every generation, there's been a cause, man. There's been a reason to get involved. It could have been as basic as simple.
I'm sorry. I always, when you said that, I was reminded of King David's words. Is there not a cause? When he went to go fight Goliath, he stood before King Saul. Is there not a cause? Is there not a cause? And he took up and went and faced Goliath.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah.
And one stone, he picked up five.
Yeah.
But one, why? Because with the Spirit of God.
Yeah, with the Spirit of God.
God on your side, man.
Yeah.
God is for us. Who can be against us?
Amen. Amen.
And so there is a cause in every generation, folks. And the cause here is we as Texans who love Texas. Lopez loves Texas, man. I love Texas, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight for our life and our liberty. And so there's ways that we get engaged. We become informed. We create awareness, and then there's engagement. And so that you can look at it as a continuum. You're living life, and all of a sudden, hey, this stuff starts impacting me. And so now it's like, hey, well, what's going on? You start getting deeper into the issues, and you start doing your research. You find like-minded persons, and you start engaging. And engagement can take so many different forms, folks. Anyways.
I was asked that question over the weekend. Actually, I was in New Mexico. That's where I was out in New Mexico yesterday. I got back late last night. Got prepared this morning. But it was funny. I kind of forget who I was talking to. I think it was somebody at home. And
your wife?
Yeah, maybe my wife. That was another family member. Anyway, but they remember how you and I worked together in the chaplaincy program of the United States Border Patrol. And I was asked, hey, wow, so did you ever think? Oh, it was my daughter. Okay. She asked me, did you ever think that you and Frank would start working together again? I was like, to tell you the truth, I didn't. Oh. I didn't. We were both retired, and next, for those who don't know, Frank and I worked in Border Patrol together, and we helped start the chaplaincy program, the United States Border Patrol, and worked together for almost more than 20 years, and then both retired, and boom, here we are again for a common cause. God brought us together in the Border Patrol for a common cause, and to help implement the chaplaincy program. Because I got to tell you the truth, that you got to count the cost, folks, because there's a lot involved. I have a family. I have a family. I'm retired. I lead a congregation. I'm an assistant rabbi at another congregation in San Antonio. I'm a Texas State representative for the National Jewish Fellowship. So I stay pretty busy. And I have studies that I got to do. I help counsel people. But first for me it's God and my family. But then there's a lot of other stuff that we're going to do. And sometimes I think we talked about it one day that I kind of just want to live, I just want to get on my bike sometimes and go fishing or whatever and be calm. But there's so much going on that I need to get involved because we look at the bigger picture in regards to future generations. And, Frank, I never thought, when I joined the Army, and I was in the Army, it was always trying to prevent socialism and communism from coming to our shores. I never thought that I would see an administration, a president so-called, which I refuse to recognize as my president, but a president of the United States of America embracing communism and socialistic ideology.
The craziest thing I heard yesterday, bro. And hey, don't get me wrong. I was, earlier I was saying, stop running the TV. Yeah, I still got my sponge. But anyways, yeah, bro. So this is the latest line of thinking here. It has to do with inflation. And so what are they saying? Well, hey, man,
more money.
Yeah, don't get bothered about inflation. You were quarantined under COVID, so you didn't have a chance to spend money. And so you got more than enough money now to make up for the difference in inflation. That's the talking points from the left, bro. And it just talks of a total delusion. I mean, just blinded.
While during quarantine, businesses were failing; they were going bankrupt. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous, bro. But real quick, here in Valverde, we got the women's Valverde Club headed up by Anna Chapman. Wonderful lady. I gotta give a shout out to Anna real quick here, man. Her and her husband, Gene, have been in politics for ages, man. Decades. I'm talking, 20, 30 years, if not more. Anna is the treasurer for the Republican Club, where I'm the chairman. But she had to become the president, bro, for the Women's Club because she just couldn't get folks, a president to step up, a person. she's also secretary for several other organizations here in town, bro. And she is in her 70s at least, bro.
Wow.
And her husband, she has to help take care of him. And this is a woman, bro, in who's just plugging along. I spoke with her yesterday, and after I hung up, I said, my God, man, the energy she has now, in her 70s, I would say. I mean, God, I hope not wrong, but anyways, the energy she has now. Imagine if she was 30 years old. Dude.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
and I imagine she did. I imagine that, and I know they were involved because I remember reading Gene Chapman's editorials in the Del Rio News Herald a lot. And so, hey, man, is that my alarm going off?
I don't
Oh, it went off in my ears.
no, something went off.
So, yeah, it was my alarm. So, anyways, that's the shut up, Frank alarm. But anyways, no, it's just I'm gonna have to get on a phone call here real soon. But anyways, I just wanted to say, look, there's a lot of I need help in the county Republican Party club, not club, Republican Party. It's not a club, folks. It's not your typical country club atmosphere here. We want it to be a working party in Valverde that is out looking for candidates, looking for poll workers, poll watchers, election clerks. You've got to get involved, man. I mean, just there's so much need for volunteerism. Now, in some of those elections, you do get paid to be an election clerk, election judge.
And the reality too, Frank, is that not everybody in office, even the good candidates, even the good elected leaders that are in there, not everybody sees everything, that needs to be done, or that has to be done. I'm going to talk to some of my fellow, rabbis and religious leaders, the community, like in the ministry, a lot of times people are really, really good, Frank, at coming and tell you know what, Rabbi, we need this, we need that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, the Lord is moving in your heart, obviously, why don't you, jump on that, because I only have two arms, I have a family, there's a lot of energy that needs to get, put into that. And so in the reality too, is that not everybody sees everything, sometimes, there's not enough hours in the day, and I would look at, when President Trump was in the White House, I was always amazed, how I would ask myself, does this guy ever sleep? Because you see him at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then you see him at like 6 in the morning on the news, or you see him doing this, you see him doing that. My point is that many times things will get put in your mind, get put in your heart, and that you see, and there's a reason that you're seeing it. Maybe it's you're being called to get up and do something about it. And there's resources out there.
And real quick, folks, here let me just say this, a couple of things real quick. And I know, Manny, you're gearing up here. There was a lady that made a comment, and I think I know where it stems from. Is the conversation about, look, we're not ready for revolution. We're just not ready for civil war. At least in my mind. I mean, some folks might be, look, there's time, folks. There's time. But it had to do with, what about the ranchers and the invasion on their property? Look, guys, we're Second Amendment folks here. We have a constitution for a reason. You have the God-given life of love of life inside of you. God gave us the spirit of life. God gave us the love, the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. God gave us that. And so you have every right from God to defend yourself when you are being attacked, to defend your family when they were being attacked. It's that simple. So don't get us wrong. And then the other thing here, somebody said, hey, my local club, it's kind of creepy or whatever. So, and the person said, I think I'm going to infiltrate it. Great idea, because, that's what they did to us. The left, the progressives, the establishment, the rhinos infiltrated us, and they took over the Republican Party, which the platform, remember, is God-centric. And so we got to take it back, folks. We got to take back the institutions. Oh, I hate what the school district's teaching our kids. Get involved. If you're retired, become a teacher. If you're a young person, thinking about a career, conservative, Christian patriot, get into the education system. Start your own school. Start your own school where you can teach. And I'm not, I'm just saying this. Look, folks, if God's put that in your heart, maybe that's just a word of confirmation for somebody out there that's listening. But if God has put those thoughts in your head, and it kind of dovetails what you were saying, Manny, you don't need to be like that guy that's on the rooftop in the flood, and he's like, God help me, sends a boat. I'm waiting for God to answer, sends a chopper. I'm waiting for God. The guy dies, drowns, goes to heaven. Hey, didn't you send me any help, Lord? chopper and the boat and everything
Yeah.
came by. Look, folks, some things are just so obvious. Yeah, I mean, you pray for God's guidance, you pray for God's wisdom, etc. But I think, Manny, also what you were saying is you see the need, jump on it.
Jump
There's
on
a
it.
need.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like, my kids, when they were younger, they knew never to really complain about something that was happening at the house. Dad, I think we should have this in our backyard. Oh yeah, so let's go outside and give them a shovel.
Yeah,
or
let's
whatnot.
fix it.
Let's
Let's do
fix it. Let's
something.
do something about it. Even in the border patrol, being a journeyman agent, and some of my younger agents would tell me, this town is boring. The politics here and this and that, and I can't do this, I can't do that. You know what, brother? Go get involved.
Yes.
Go get involved. Make it better. And if you're not going to stay here and you don't plan on staying here for a long time, help make it better for the next person who comes.
Make some change.
Make a difference, folks. We have voices, but I'm gonna go at the basic level. If you're watching this program and you're not registered to vote, get out there and get registered to vote, folks. We got some upcoming primaries here, pretty soon.
Yes.
And we got some pretty good candidates that are running. But we have some people that are in office right now that need to get out.
Yes.
And of course I've been approached by well, why don't you run? Like, that's not my calling right at this point in time. Maybe in the future, but that's not my calling at this point in time. But folks, there are some people who want to. There are some pretty good people that we talked to about considering a mayorship, running for mayor.
Yes.
Get out there, get to know your community.
Yeah, and yeah, there's so much. Maybe you don't want to be a candidate, but like I was saying, poll watchers, poll workers, get involved with your party, infiltrate the party. If it's been taken over by establishment, then get in, learn the rules, learn the procedures, and then get involved and bring like-minded people. Take some leadership roles. Hey, there's a committee. I want to get involved in that committee, or I want to be the head of that committee, and just be salt. Yeah. Be light where it's needed.
I had a pastor friend of mine who told me one time, he says, the Lord calls us to be salt and light of the earth. Salt irritates. Go out there and irritate somebody. And I'm like, So, but and then as well, Frank, this isn't the time to be on the fence about stuff either. There you can't. There's this old Jewish midrash. It means a discussion where this man is standing on the fence, and some people on one side of the fence and the other people on the other side of the fence, and they're waiting for the Messiah to come, right? And so the Messiah comes. Satan comes and he takes people who are on the left of the fence, and he takes them. The Messiah comes and he takes people that are on the right of the fence, and then there's the man still walking the fence, and then Satan shows back up and he tells the man on the fence, all right, you're coming with me. And the man says, no, I'm on the fence. And he goes, well, the fence belongs to me too. So the reality, the moral of the story is you have to serve somebody, in regards to the Lord. If you're not serving him, then you're serving the enemy. But you can't stay on the fence anymore, folks. We're at a point in time in our country. I've always believed, Frank, that the United States is a beacon of hope. That's why you have so many people trying to pour in here. But people will take advantage. And there is evil out there for us. We cannot think that the United States isn't exempt from evil people trying to rule.
Yeah, it's time, get your heads out of the sand. It's time to wake up. I mean, and I think it is happening. We've had the woke element working. Well, patriots are waking up. Virginia's part of that. Just at the horror. And I think, look, let's not. Yeah, we'll say socialist Democrats here and there, but if you have people that that have been lifelong Democrats, there's no need to get into a just shout and match with them. And I know there's always exceptions, because there's some folks, don't look at me, I didn't say anything. Yeah, but you had the Trump look in your eye or something. Whatever. Anyways, but anyways, what I'm trying to say here is it's a good time to be saying, really, wow, man, what's your opinion about what's happening to our nation? I mean, what do you think about those, gas rising prices?
Oh my gosh, it's almost like $7 a gallon over there in California right now.
Bro, it's crazy, man. And hey, are you okay with all this talk about giving our money, your money, our children's money, $450,000 to each person that came here illegally? Your children grew up here. Is anybody offering your child who was born in the country $450,000?
Well, even education, Frank. Even education. A lot of these universities and whatnot are giving priority to illegal aliens that have come into in the United States, and they're giving them priority as far as education.
And
goes.
that happened here. Perry was one of those that did that, bro. Governor Perry gave that in-state tuition to illegal aliens, bro. I mean, see, folks, that's why we've got to get involved, because the elites, the ruling class, don't want people like us in the political arena. Why? because, first of all, thank God, He's given us this passion. The Spirit of God indwells our hearts and our minds. We have the mind of Christ, but also because, we're not going to be silent in the face of tyranny. We're not going to be silent in the face of what is wrong. And especially when people are, where our fellow American citizens are being oppressed, man. That's our responsibility as Americans to take care of our own. Now, there's people out there in the world, and for years, America has been one of the most benevolent countries in the world, bro.
Yeah.
We have given our money. We have poured hundreds of millions and billions of dollars into the world. But there comes a time when, we start looking at our pocketbook and we can't be giving it all out because what we have in our pocket is getting smaller.
Yep.
And it's not, our fault that the leaders, the rulers of those nations, the populace, the citizenry of those nations did not stand up and demand accountability, did not get informed, did not get involved. And so they're at a point where they've broken down. Their societies, their governments, their nations have broken down. We cannot allow that to happen to Texas and to America. Folks, there is no other clearer, element, no clearer signals than what we are receiving. We are in a fight for our existence as a state, as a nation, right, as a people, and you have to get involved.
You're exactly right, Frank. And folks, I asked this question, to some of my liberal families, who say, well, I couldn't stand Trump and whatnot. My question to them is first, why? And then second is, what's wrong with putting America first?
Yes.
What is wrong with putting America first?
There's nothing wrong with
No, and it should be
it
it should be America first. I believe in helping out our fellow man. I do. I believe that there are people in need. I do. I believe that we should go out and help countries that are
evangelize.
And evangelize. I believe we should. If a country like we've helped out countries before that were being overrun by communism and whatnot. Of course, now the administration wants to embrace it.
Yes.
And then we can't forget about Afghanistan as well either. That's a whole nother segment. In reality, but folks are still Americans trapped over there. This administration lost the whole country, has basically helped establish the largest safe haven for terrorism in the world, and giving them basically ISIS is back. Has been giving them their own country.
Yes.
Folks, we see now that child abduction and families selling children over there now to make ends meet. Things like that. The Taliban is over there, folks. We known for years that Islamic organizations, terrorist organizations, have been using the illegal immigration to infiltrate the United States. I'm going to tell you, Frank, as well, these terrorists are patient people.
Yes.
To once they infiltrate a country, but folks, there's so much going on. I think Frank, you sent me an article earlier this morning.
Yes.
About on Fox News about a Texas lawmaker, right?
Yes.
Uncovers secret operation to move migrants across the U.S. and
house them in abandoned hotels.
And house them in abandoned hotels. Folks, again, like we were talking about earlier, we can't think that we're not exempt as a nation, that there's corruption in the halls of government.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me, Frank, because everybody in a sense, it seems to me, has like embraced, the lies and embraced the corruption and said, well, that's just the way they are. That's just the way things work. Folks, that's not the way they're supposed to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way it's supposed to work, look, there's a comment right here, folks. And look, this is great, man. On my walk-arounds, when I do my lives, I like to interact with you all because this is not just about getting footage out here. It's about a discussion. And this is the way we can discuss. So a gentleman here says, so these people are coming in, upcoming elections, just how many of the illegal immigrants' names are going to be applied to mail-in ballots for the Democrats in upcoming elections. Look, folks, that's where you have to get involved. You know where it's key? If this is your concern here, sir, this is where this is key. Look at your county clerk or your election administrator. Are they aligned with your values? Look at the staff that they've hired. Are they aligned with your values? And you can find out. I mean, record. You find out. Who. The names of the people that work in those offices. You can go to the Secretary of State, look at the past elections, and look for those names. What primary did they vote in? If your county is staffed by primarily, for instance, in this case, Democrats, how do you think they're, for the most part, their ideology. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, Manny, except when it comes to God's word. But anyways, part of it, bro, is that in some counties, people just don't realize that they're conservatives, man. The Democrat Party of old has left them. It's gone. It's been hijacked by the freaking crazy radical who are doing crazy things in our country. And so it's time for you to leave the Democrat Party, folks, because if you disagree with what's happening, then you need to take a look at Republicans. You need and not just anybody. Do your research as well. We have one master, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but the Democrat Party has lorded over the people, in this case for us, the regions of the border. They've lorded over our communities. They say they're for the people. They say they're for the downtrodden and the oppressed. But then they get into power, and what do? They just apply more pressure and just bring more weight on the necks and throats of people. And we're not going to allow the Republican Party to do the same neither. But anyways.
And all you have to do, Frank, all you have to do is go back a few years, and you can see the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party.
Yes,
and look
on illegal immigration.
On illegal immigration, right? And abortion, same-sex marriage. I remember when Hillary and Obama were both opposed to it.
Yes.
And they came straight out and said they're opposed to it. Yeah. I remember when they said that there was going to be no more there wasn't going to be any mask mandates, and that was just a few months ago.
That was Biden.
Yeah, and that was Biden who said that. And folks, you can go back and look at, but they go with the trend.
Yeah.
They go with mob rule, and
yes.
And the reality, folks, to do your history as well. The reality is that our founding fathers didn't want a democracy; they actually wanted a republic. That's why we would say in the Pledge of Allegiance for the republic for which it stands. Because democracies are mob rule basically.
Yeah.
Republic is we get representatives. It's designed to voice of those. You vote for a certain candidate because you believe in the same platform. Boom, that's what's going to go forward. So if murder's wrong, murder's wrong.
Yeah.
But mob rule, it's different.
Yeah. Well, and then just look at the Kyle, trial that's going on, the mob and all that. Yeah. And so we have this element here in America too, bro, where the left controls totally the media, all the information sourcing out there.
Right.
And that's why, we're just out here trying to be citizen journalists, just give you an insight into what's happening here. Of course, we're opinionated, but we base our words on the Word of God, on constitutional principles, on what is American Western civilization norm, the norms. And so, we need to connect with other like-minded people. But once again, I'm going to come back and say, we've got to get involved. And there was a comment here that I wanted to address here. Let me real quick. There's no more Dem Party left. They're radicals. That's true. Upcoming elections. Oh, yeah. So get involved with the county elections, entity.
First, register to vote.
Register to vote, yeah. And then, if you reach out to your Republican Party and you tell them, look, I want to get involved in the election process. So there's poll watchers, those people that go and stand out there and watch, see what's going on. But more than that, folks, we need people who actually get the ballots, the paperwork in their hands. We need you to be election clerks. We need you to be election judges that oversee the operations at your precinct. When you go vote, early voting, there's going to be an election judge that's in charge of that place. And then there's going to be election workers. You need to be one of those components as well as the poll watcher. And the candidates can appoint poll watchers, and the party can appoint
and
poll watchers.
How do they get in touch with the local Republican Party?
Yeah, so like for instance right here, you look up Facebook, look for their pages, look up internet. Here in Valverde, it's real simple, man. I mean, we have Valverde Republicans website. And on Facebook, Valverde County Republican Party, Valverde County Republican Party.
Good, and we'll put that link on our website as well.
Yes.
So that way, if you want to get involved, you can get involved in that way. But folks, if you're not going to get out there and run, first get registered to vote, help a candidate. Go out there and knock on some doors.
Help the party.
Help the party. We, my wife and I, we helped Raul Reyes. I'll say, we helped Raul Reyes when he was running over here. We went and knocked on doors and passed out some things and flyers and whatnot because we believe first in the platform. And then but we also make sure you register, you research your candidate, folks.
Yes. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah. Who's ever running, you research your candidate. Make sure that you know what him or her stands, what they stand for, if they agree with the platform as well. And then folks, I've heard some people say, well, I have a friend, he ran as a Democrat because he knew that he wouldn't get elected if he ran as a Republican. don't do that. That's ridiculous. Because the reality is you're agreeing with that platform. You know what I mean? And you're and if you want to stay in office, you're going to have to vote for these Democratic platforms, and that's ridiculous.
And so let's talk about that a little bit, Manny. And man, I know I'm going to have to. What time is it? Oh, that's wrong.
Well, we got a couple minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got like 4 minutes.
Okay, good. So real quick, folks, on that. Look, I know, like for instance, down in Eagle Pass, bro. I remember last election, the primary season. A lot of people voted in the primary election for Democrats, and the people that voted for them are Republicans, patriot conservatives at heart, but they went and voted in the Democrat primary because they had more choices for people that were going to affect them locally there, school board, all that stuff.
Right.
And so that's why, we need Republican candidates. Now, it might seem like it's uphill in the beginning. It might seem like, hey, out of the 30 spots that are available or whatever, let's just say 20 spots are available, we could only get 5 Republicans to run for anything. Go vote for them, people. Go vote for them. It will encourage them, but you also need to start breaking through. If you want to bring down a wall, Manny, you don't run into it head first. If all you have is your bulldozer, great, man. I mean, but what do, man? You want to break through a wall? You take your hammer, you take your chisel, and you just start chipping away at it, bro. That's the only way you got. Yeah, you can get some hydraulic jacks or whatever, but it's incremental. And so, first of all, become a candidate for the Republican Party, even in a deep blue county, and patriots, conservatives, vote for your Republican candidates. You've got to.
Yeah. Well, look what happened in the Valley.
It might take several election cycles for you to change the tide, but it's like, bro, a boat that's fixing to go off the edge of this waterfall. Yeah. So what do? You paddle like crazy, and it might seem initially like you're not getting away from the edge. But eventually, bro, you paddle away from it, and then you can get to a safe haven somewhere, But I'm sorry, you said Dallas.
No, I said in the Valley. Look what happened in the Valley.
Yes.
In the Rio Grande Valley, they got a Republican mayor.
They got Republican mayor, and then Stark County. Was it Stark County? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Stark County.
And then we can look, and then we
went red.
We even look at what happened in the state of New Jersey, right? They had this truck driver who spent like a couple of grand, and he was like an underdog, and he ends up beating the most powerful Democrat in the state of New Jersey. And I had a question like how important it is to knock on doors, folks. It's very important. You get to engage with people, and because a lot of them, when we were out there knocking on doors, people were just going, told him he was honest because his name was out there. He was popular, But then when we started talking about we got to talk about their platforms and what he's done, and it changes minds, folks. It changes minds. You get to talk with people,
and you go armed with the handouts or whatever, the door hangers, whatever that the candidates have given you. But the Republican Party also, and your county chairs will know this, how to get resources. Like there's those great contrasts. Republican Party is for life, Democrat Party abortion, etc. The contrast. And down here, what we also have going on are, the Spanish. And, you flip it over and it's in Spanish. Yep. But you got to get involved locally. And then something here, what areas need Republican representatives? I'll tell you where we need Republican representatives. Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah. We need them at the school board, at the hospital district, city council, the county offices. Republicans need to get involved with the appraisal, the tax appraisal district. They need to get involved with the, permits departments. You need to try to get employed as with your city and et cetera. We need to infiltrate, and infuse the body collective, whether it's the entity, whatever it is at the whatever level, infuse it with solid Republicans. And you'll hear from me. I don't just vote for the R folks. That we got to fight against the rhinos.
Exactly. Because I tell people all the time, the Republican Party is not the party that's going to save America, but it's darn sure not going to be the Democrats. The Democratic Party is not going to do any good for America. So folks, there are rhinos, and there's a comment here, about they lie. Those leaders like we just mentioned have sold their soul. Look, the ones who got elected, yeah, but they did it even before they got elected. What I mean by that, folks, if you go and you research these candidates before they get elected, you can see their voting record, if they have any voting record at all,
things they
say, the things that they say, the things that they've done, while they were employed in certain areas, and their history, folks. That's all public information.
Like Tony Gonzalez.
All you have to do and say, the problem with a lot of folks now, Frank, that they just want the gist of things. They just look at the like when Obama was running for office. People were shocked when he started doing what he did, and I told them, he told us what he was going to do. And then Biden gets in office, and they're shocked again. I'm like, look, he told us what he was going to do. Their records speak for themselves, folks. Just because they look good on camera, just because they say the right things, doesn't mean that they're always doing good or saying or doing the right things. Yeah. But anyway, we gotta get going. But folks, if you have any questions for us, we do have a website, talkaboutitlive.com, and at the bottom there you can see our email address, talkaboutitlive@gmail.com. Email us your questions, your concerns, whatnot, and if you want to know how to get involved, and please let us know. There are some candidates out there. Here pretty soon as it gets close to the elections, we're probably going to throw some endorsements out there because folks is getting critical. So anyway, you can go to our website, talkaboutitlive.com, and email us with your comments, your questions, your concerns. And so, but folks, we want to say once again, thank you so much for joining us here today. We truly appreciate all those who are watching. We even got some watchers from New Orleans, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey. From Louisiana and the great state of Louisiana. And
I saw Missouri out there.
Missouri out there. So I want to thank you so much. And again, shout out to HTX Renegade Radio out of Houston, Texas. We appreciate you guys and truth tellers as well. And again, folks, there's some other people out there like Isaac Ruiz. Go watch him, as well. And Oscar Blue, right?
Yes, Oscar Blue
as well. But folks, there's a lot of people out there. Get involved. We appreciate you watching this, and God willing, we'll be able to see you here soon. Next Taco Tuesday here at Talk About It Live. So
yeah,
God bless you. God bless America. God bless Texas.
Thank you.